All right, everybody. So last time that we played, the group met and was introduced to Naomi's sister, the general, Esther. And after some brief conversation, catching up, introductions, you were all invited to her home for lunch and some rest. When arriving, you guys met and spent some time with her wife and son, Ursa and Zyler in Hall. Dragan decided to dig a little deep into the journals that he had acquired from the laboratory, and eventually decided, after a few hours and eating and whatnot, to leave alongside the rest of the party. You guys started to explore the city a little bit prior to tucking in for the night. And then most of you went to the library, Dragan mainly to find methods to decrypt the information that he couldn't read, and Thea to, well, when you were there, you looked about information on how to make some better mushroom shoes. And Pax also did some information and discovered there is a teleportation circle that his folks used in the city somewhere. Naomi, however, not wanting to go to the library, decided to spy on some of her friends. She saw a couple of shady folk talking down an alley, and they eventually noticed her and Simon, and they kind of got spooked, and they ran. She couldn't track them. It was colder down there, but it wasn't who she thought it would be. Dragan eventually learned of a sorceress who could decrypt the information after giving a lecture in the library, so he kind of waited around alongside the other two at the library who were just kind of reading and researching. You met this sorceress whose name is Samantha, and she started to cast a ritual spell, of which she then told you that you would have to write down what she says as she deciphers the pages for you, as she'll be focused on touching each page, reading it, and deciphering it. And that's where we find ourselves now, at the beginning of the deciphering process of the journals. So, you guys all should find yourselves at the library.
Who's this peeping Tom?
It's Naomi.
Hi guys, I didn't want to come from here.
Naomi's still kind of bebopping around in that, looking outside that dark alley. She kind of lost track of those folks, but we'll do this little bit of translation firstly, since that's where we ended. So, what I'm going to do is I'll send you the full document, so you don't have to write it all down if you don't want to.
Okay, I had Google Docs open. I was like cracking my fingers like, okay, I'm going to have to panically type everything.
No, I already have it written down. So I'll kind of generally read to you what it is, and then I'll post it in chat, and then I'll just send you the document later so you have it.
Cool. I closed
so basically,
Docs.
Yeah, right. So as she's kind of translating it, you can see the stuff that she's running her fingers over. Like I said before, the letters kind of, or the symbols kind of elevate off the page. It's almost like she's reading Braille a little bit with the way that she's deciphering it. But a lot of the information in this journal kind of describes this outcome, this guy that you defeated, his failures to create a concoction that would survive, a disease concoction that would survive. As well as describing the many different failed attempts that he has on improving the disease process that he was working on. She also kind of, you've seen what's in the journal, you can't read it all, so you know that also in here there are different diagrams, things that you don't necessarily understand, but she kind of explains to you that the diagrams are molecular and chemical structures of the reagents that he used or was using, as well as the affliction itself. And so the first thing that she deciphers for you is, she's going through, she says, well, the name of the disease in Infernal reads as this. And as she goes to tell you what it is, it's influenza umbra, or the shadow flu, as it is commonly known. So she then goes on to lower on the page, where she talks a little bit about how the disease process works, and you can see that this is in the two different languages that you don't understand, that she told you was Infernal and a variation of Primordial, and now looking at a little further, she understands this is Infernal and Ignan.
Okay.
And she says to you, Dragon, that the disease itself infects the body like a normal flu does, like normal flu-like diseases, but begins to eat away at the brain of the infected if not treated quickly. At that point, the afflicted loses control of themselves through deterioration of their prefrontal cortex, leading to zombie-like behaviors and slowly and very painfully death. And
wow.
this is what you saw, Dragon, as you were trying to read it, but you couldn't. This is the combination of Infernal and Primordial. You can kind of see the languages as they bounce through. She continues on how it describes how he was beginning to advance the spreading of this affliction. At the moment of him writing this, and you don't know exactly when this journal was written, so you don't know how advanced past this point this affliction is, but at the minute that he took these notes, it said currently the way to contract it is only through touch and ingestion, so i.e. through water, through food, etc. But it does go on to describe that he was working on a way to aerosolize the infection process. Again, it was in Ignan, so you can't read it. I have the translations for all.
I was going to say, have you found a fantasy language translator?
I have. So
it's
yes,
like German.
No, it's both. But at the time of writing this, he said that at that time the journal says that it takes 3 to 4 days for the signs and symptoms of the effects of the affliction to present themselves. But once it's initially contracted, the afflicted creature can begin to spread the contagion within 24 hours. So you don't know you have it, but you can start to spread it, like a regular flu. Yes, fantasy Omicron.
Too real, man. Too real.
Too real. And then she goes on to describe how there are more diagrams and a lot of mathematical equations from a chemistry perspective, kind of showing how he's been testing a little bit of this with a little bit of that, kind of mixing and matching things together. And then he goes on to write about the only cure that he knows of at that moment, that the only actual cure is very higher level magic, but also killing the afflicted creature and cremating their corpse will also destroy all traces of the infection in that creature's body. Curing the afflicted, however, leaves them with permanent scarring that leaves them susceptible to influence from powerful beings trying to control souls. So,
like, if you somehow got cured, Mr. Kevin the Lich can't take your soul.
they would be more susceptible to the influence of someone trying to do that. Yes. And as she kind of...
Oh, it'd be easier for Kevin the Lich to take your soul.
Yes, it's not a foregone conclusion that Kevin the Lich could take control of you, but it's a lot easier.
Got it.
As you have like permanent soul damage if you're even cured from the shadow flu. But as she finishes translating, because all of this journal is not like the size of a regular notebook, it's like a pocket journal, and so there are many pages that she's flipping through and touching them and reading them all to you, and showing you the different diagrams. And a lot of the stuff that he's writing isn't even necessarily a language that she can decipher. A lot of this information that she can't read is in some sort of code, and the spell that she utilized does not allow you to decipher codes. It only allows you to read the literal translation of the languages in front of you. So a lot of it, she says she can't describe. She can only maybe decipher about 45 to 50% of the journal in that hour. Of what she was, of the whole journal, about 45 to 50% of it she could get through, and she could only translate about 80% of that. So the rest of it is like codes or diagrams that you can look at them as they're just pictures, but they don't have any translatable features of them.
So most of the stuff has been translated.
Yes, of the amount that she could get through, which was, like I said, about 50% of the journal, she translated most of it that she could, yeah.
Okay.
And right, that time limit, was that because of the fee we paid her, or just the amount of time she had?
That's just her, that's the length of the spell.
So, as my agreement with her, after I would thank her for the translations, my biggest takeaway from that is he was trying to make it airborne. That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And, as per our agreement for getting the notes translated, I would, I'd ask what her take on this is, what she thinks.
Well, I think that you have made some enemies. I would ask where you got this, but I honestly don't know if I want to know. If somebody's making a weapon, I think you should take this and put this in the hands of someone with more authority than myself and yourself, and get it taken care of. I don't want necessarily to, I want to know, but at the same time I don't want to know, because I feel like if I know, I'm going to get wrapped up in something I don't want to be a part of. If you understand my conflict.
Yes. And, I appreciate you doing this for me. I appreciate your time. I thank you. I'm just hoping that I can, as you said, give this to someone who may know more, and as long as this is a possibility, as long as this sickness is out there, my homeland is in danger.
I would say if you can get an audience with the royal court mages or the king, that's probably your best bet, as they have more than likely what you would need. But if I could ask you one favor in return for translating it, do not mention my name if they ask you who translated it, please, and thank you.
I, do the motion of, my lips are sealed. Throw away the lock.
Excellent. And with that, I must be going.
And I, take the book. I take the papers. I thank her once again. And,
she picks up her little book that she set out to the side with a quill in it, kind of tucks it into her robes, pulls her hood up, and you see that she kind of like does like the whole unlocking the door motion behind her and opens the door, and she walks through a portal, and she effectively dimension doored out of the library.
That's dope. I do have a second goal in mind, because I remembered this from last time. After getting all of that done, I do have another reason why I'm in the library. I'd kind of like walk back up to the person behind the desk, and I'd ask instead of medical books, I'd ask for books on the history of the city, of the kingdom, stuff from the different kings that have been put in place to battles that have been fought, wars, etc., etc.
You can find the history section right over there. Just kind of point you.
Right. I
Over
would
there.
thank them and then walking over to get more books.
All right, Pax, you and Iggy. What are you working on?
Since I assume there wouldn't have been a way to help with the conversation, it probably would have been just, let's see here. Further investigating the library, seeing if there's any more information about satyrs or other fae folk in the city. Like, are there, expatriates I could connect with, or like a, shopper watering hole of fae folk to be like, hey.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and make me a perception check as you're kind of just like meandering the like the racks.
Boop. Barp.
By 3. Yeah, so in general, there are other people in the library. I just don't have the tokens of it. It's not a big empty building. There are people kind of in and about. And you hear different people just talking about the different inns throughout the tavern. And someone, it isn't like they're trying to be rude. It's just that, you know how when you notice someone noticing you and they kind of turn, they kind of whisper and they point at you for a split second and they pretend like they're not talking about you. You notice a small, like a group of 2 or 3 younger people kind of point you out, point at your floating tree, and then kind of go back to whispering about what you assume to be yourself and Iggy. And you hear them mention that there are elvish or like other strange looking folk that you remind them of in the Bouncy Comet Saddler, which is one of the inns in the city.
The Incan Saddler, did you say?
The Bouncy Comet Saddler.
Bouncy Comet Saddler, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a great name.
So you hear them
Cool.
mention, and then when they see that they have caught your attention, they kind of scamper off. And
They scamper.
They scamper, not like running away like they've done anything wrong. We're just like, shit, we've been noticed. And they just like, they're basically like teenagers, like 13, 14-year-olds. So they kind of do that teenage scampering away kind of thing. So they don't have to talk to you, or so you can't talk to them.
I will glower like a boomer at them as they leave.
Perfect.
My lawn in my library.
Anthea, what are you doing after you found your Cobbling for Dummies book last time?
Yeah, I'm probably reading through that. Just probably sitting over at this little table over here.
Okay. So go ahead and we'll give you a just do I want to say, I don't know, a survival or a nature check for mushroom cobbling.
Okay.
To see how much you comprehend from the cobbling for dummy.
Let's do survival.
So you read it and you're like, oh, yes, this makes sense. Perfect sense. So you currently now have 2 successes to gain towards gaining proficiency. And I was thinking about how I wanted to do this over the past couple of weeks.
Proficiency in mushroom shoes?
In cobbling, yes. So what I'll say is you need 15 total successes to get full proficiency, and you can get half proficiency after 8 successes. And you can, after the in-game day is over, you can get 1 success a day, but you can try twice. And if you succeed the first time, you get 1 success, but if you fail the first time, you got 1 more shot towards the end of the day or whenever, if you want to try and just reread everything and kind of like study what you
read twice a day kind of thing.
Yeah, you can read twice a day, and you can get 1 success a day until you get to 8. Then you have half proficiency in cobbler's tools, and then at 15 successes you have full proficiency, and you can kind of acquire cobbling tools when you're out and about in a shopping area. So But yeah, cool.
I've written that down to remind myself. That is cool. That is a fun goal, so that everyone
So
can
cool.
have cool shoes.
Moon boots. Keep me
Moon
floating.
boots.
All right, so we'll pop back over to Naomi being a creep out in the streets. You found they made for frolicking. That's just what they'll do. So you investigated, and you couldn't find the two people that you and Simon noticed. It was a little cold, but it wasn't what you were thinking it was. And as you popped your head out the alley, they were gone. It is starting to get a little later in the evening at this point. You guys all still have the seeming spell on you, so you still are under the effects of seeming, whatever you chose to look like. What are you doing for the rest of the evening, Naomi?
I'd probably just, knowing that I don't have to be on duty, probably head to like my favorite little restaurant and sit down and have a meal just by myself, just enjoying the fact that A, I'm back home, and B, I'm not working anymore, and people aren't gonna get like uppity seeing me sit down.
Fair enough. I'm gonna roll a D100, and that will say how good of a meal you get. The higher, the better.
Oh yeah!
That's
It's a
tonight
super
was
good
the
meal.
tonight was the night. You ordered your favorites at your favorite place, and it's been a long time since you've got that opportunity just to sit down and not have people kind of like be afraid but bother you and revel kind of in you being there, and just been left alone to your own devices. So like this meal is even better than last time you had it, because you are just left in peace to enjoy your time.
So quaint. Thank goodness.
Simon, however, roll me a stealth check for Simon.
Oh god.
Did you sneak him into the restaurant?
Of course I did.
He absolutely went into the restaurant.
He just followed straight behind me. He's just like, hello.
He's a good boy.
He is the goodest of boy. That's why
They
he
should
is,
let him in.
that's why he is Simon Lee Doggo. For a 20 for stealth.
Okay. So Simon, as you're enjoying this meal, Simon was at your side when you first sat down. He's not anymore. Roll a perception check at advantage, because you know what your dog likes to do.
19.
So as you're enjoying this meal, you notice Simon's not there anymore. He just somehow snuck off very quietly. And you kind of lean over a little bit to kind of look around the corner back into the kitchen. And then you hear a ruckus. And you hear Simon walking out, face full of steak, just trotting out 2 giant T-bones in his mouth, and plops down right beside you and just starts nomming on these T-bones.
I sigh and I just casually go back to eating, pretending like that it isn't my dog that's right next to me chewing on these T-bone steaks.
It's funny because you hear the chef in the back yelling and asking where these steaks went, because they saw them leave, and they kind of just saw like the back shape of whatever it was that took them, and saw the steaks just kind of swinging back and forth, and they're just yelling, and you hear pots and pans clanging, things smashing in the back, people getting yelled at, and then some probably dishwasher or like newer member of the kitchen staff who looks like he hasn't slept in about a month comes just like walking out into the restaurant just covered in grease and dirt and probably marinara sauce. You hope marinara sauce. You're not really sure. Looking very disheveled, and he's just like going table to table and like just peeping around and like trying to find out where these steaks went. I'm just gonna roll a straight D20, no modifiers, to see if he even notices that they're being eaten. Maybe.
Come on, natural one. Give Simon something to enjoy too. Come on.
Give me the dice. It's not rolling.
Good.
9. He, with Simon's 20, yeah, we're going with the 9 first because it was the first in the row. With Simon's 20, and you're not even necessarily like taking any action to bring attention to the fact that Simon's eating these 2 giant T-bones beside you and kind of under the table a little bit. This disheveled looking chef kitchen worker kind of rummages around the restaurant, just looking everywhere he can try and find these steaks, and you hear him go, "Oh no, no, no! Those were for the king and his wife. What are we gonna do? Oh no, no, no! He's already in a bad mood. Oh no, no, no!" And he sprints out of the restaurant, and you don't see him come back for as long as you're there.
You just you just see as soon as he says that, you just see all the color just like drains from Naomi's face, and she just kind
Simon got a man fired.
probably just got a man fired. Good. Her boss is even more grumpy than he already was because now he's not getting his steak, and she just kind of like she lifts up her foot underneath the table and reaches over and just like scratches Simon's head with her foot. Just like, you stupid little dog. But leaves him.
He goes to turn to rub his face up the side of your hand, and you just have like this raw meat slime just all down the inside of your gauntlets, which are underneath the seaming. So your arm is like slimy and gross, but doesn't look any different. It just feels nasty.
I contemplate shaking it off, and then I'm like, I better not till I get outside. And I will just sit and just very much enjoy my food.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're gonna spend the rest of your night enjoying your food. So you head back. Are you heading back to Esther's to rest for the evening?
Yeah, that's where I would go.
Okay, cool. So you spend as much time as you would like in the restaurant enjoying yourself and just kind of casually making your way back to Esther's, enjoying the nice, cool city for the evening. It's fairly lively. There's some stuff going on at different taverns. There are people on the streets. Well, just hanging out in general. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild, but it's like a nice little atmosphere walking back from here to Esther's for the night. The rest of you guys, how much more time are you spending in the library for the evening before you head back, or are you heading back to rest?
How late is it out currently? What time is it?
It's happening concurrently, so it's probably about 6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m. When does the library close?
A little after dusk, so probably about 9 o'clock.
Alright, I would at least let the other two know. I'd find them and let them know I'm going to be doing some studying, and I would stay in the library for at least maybe another hour and a half to read these books.
Okay. Eventually, you do hear the announcement that the library is closing in 30 minutes, and please return any books. And eventually, you do see the lady who you've been talking with does come find you, ask you if you plan on checking them out, if you would like a library card with which to check them out, or if you'd be returning them.
I would... Boy. You know, it never hurts to have a library card. Yeah, why not? I'll get a library card and check them out.
Alright, she walks you back to her desk, pulls out a small scroll, unrolls it, and then just says, put your name here, your age here, since some books are age restricted. She looks at you and goes, probably not to you, but I'm not going to assume. You could just be a finely aged gentleman of 17 now.
So, yeah, I write down everything, but I write down my name. My question is, Alex, do I know how old I am?
You believe that you're 45.
Okay, I would write that down.
Okay. And then she asks you for your address, which you can write down your last known address, and then a signature at the bottom. And then once that's all done, you see that once you finish signing it and lift the quill from the scroll, it kind of rolls itself back up and just kind of gets real small and then kind of pop, explodes a little bit. And you see two things happen. A card kind of forms on the table, and then like a little bauble of energy floats over her left shoulder and hits a filing cabinet behind, opening it and then slamming it. And you see there's a little ticker on top of it, and it just increases the number by 1 to say that there is now a new library card have been issued. So you now have a magical library card with your name and date, or your name and your age, and a picture of you just right on it.
What's the name of this city again?
The name of the city is Moreau.
Spell that out, hot quick.
Mirou. Miro.
Cool.
When I see a dragon getting a library card,
Yes.
I would get one too. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, cool.
All
Knowledge.
right. Cool. So you get a library card. Anthea, would you also like to get a library card?
Please, that's cool and sciencey.
All right.
And I
So
would also ask the librarian if they do interlibrary loans.
Ooh.
She grants you all your library cards and goes, "Oh, yes, yeah, we do that. It's not super common, as this place is quite large, and most people who come here do live here. But we have been known to do interlibrary loans. You would just need to know the location or the name of the library that you wish to utilize, and then if they have something there that you need here, we can have it transported the next day, or vice versa. We can always collect something, make sure we have the correct number of it accounted for, and then send it to them the day after the request has been submitted, unless, of course, it requires additional approval if it is a more restricted tome or something like that. Or if we don't have it, then obviously we would reach out to the library network across the continent to see if there are additional locations of the book in other libraries. So,
Because as I just set up trade or diplomatic missions in other places, being able to share information such as seems to be helpful. So I might see about setting up a reciprocal arrangement with Evermeet in the future. So, yes.
excellent. Also, until right now, I did not plan on having a full library across the continent. So, yeah,
There we go.
we're gonna have libraries everywhere. Make all those, but I like libraries. Here we are. Cool. All right, so you guys get your library cards. If you're checking out the books that you are reading, you are more than welcome to do that. And the standard rental period for these books is 28 days. You can obviously bring them back sooner or exchange or keep them longer. You just have to let them know with any standard library, or there will be late fees on top of late fees, and then they will send the library guardians after you if you do not return them after 3 sets of late fees are...
Who's the library guardian? I ask about this because this may be very exciting to me.
She goes, well, we don't have to implement them very often, but you know that there is... She kind of pushes up her glasses really quickly and kind of sits up a little higher in her chair. And she's like, so you know that there are different planes of existence, correct? Is that something that you know of? Different planes? Or do I need to tell you about those?
Yes, we would know this from previous knowledge, right?
Yes. Okay. So, there are different planes, and typically what happens is when we need to send out a library guardian to collect on an overdue book or an overdue property of the libraries, we reach out to a couple different places. There's Arcadia, which we'll go to if it's not that big of a deal, if it's just a smaller loan, if it's a book that isn't necessarily restricted or anything like that. But if it's a book that is not necessarily available to the normal public, if it's from the restricted section, we reach out to our guardians from the plane of Mechanus, which I've heard is very clockworky and mechanical, is the name. And I've never seen them, but I hear that the clockwork guardians that they send, that come from Mechanus to collect these books, are, shall we say, less than pleasant and take no prisoners. I've heard that we've only ever had to call on the plane of Mechanus twice, and we have retrieved the tomes that were overdue, but the library cards were revoked, and the borrowers, well, they are no longer capable of borrowing books, shall we say.
All right. How exciting. I would like to read up on these
Oof.
some other time, but for now, I suppose I should just make sure I mark down when this is due. And
Oh,
continue on
you don't
my
even
way.
have to worry about that because you get a nice little magical alert in your head that says 1 week, 3 days, and 1 day due to return. And if you cannot physically make it here, we do have the option to magically send something to recover the book for you. That is an additional small fee for, mail charge, but we can do that for you. That is a service that we do offer, but obviously if you're ignoring our alerts, then, well, I can't help you. So.
Okay, well, that sounds very convenient. Thank you so much.
And I believe it is time for me to close the library so I can go home and eat dinner with my family. So please, if you would make your way out the door, I would appreciate it very much.
Before leaving, I would ask the said person the location of the nearest tavern.
Well, would you like, there are 3 not far from here that you could go to. Would you like one that is a little on the high end of prices, one on the low end, or would you like one that's kind of in the middle somewhere? What are you feeling? What is your expenditures looking like that you would like to part with for the evening?
See, my mind thinks if I go to the low end, that's where I'd probably most get the people who are gonna hate the king. Maybe if I go
Goldilocks
to the
Tavern.
Middle tier.
Okay. Well, the middle tier, she kind of points in a general direction, giving you a little bit of direction. You're going to look for the Codfather. That's where you want to go.
That's hilarious.
That's strong.
That's great. Okay.
The fishy establishment.
Okay, I gotta know, what are the names of the other 2? At least, what's the name
Got
of
a
the
bone to pick with that
silliest
one.
You know, what's the name of the low tier?
So the name of the higher one, she tells you is the Bouncy Comet Saddler.
Okay.
That's
Figures.
Yep. And then you have the Codfather.
What's the seedy place?
And the seedy place is called the Sleek Joker. So
That one's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Well, as we're leaving, I would tell Anthea and Pax they're more than welcome to join me. But I will be taking these books and I will be heading to the Codfather to study over them and get a drink.
okay. Pax, Anthea, you guys all get your library cards. Dragon mentions he's going to the Podfather. What are your plans for the evening?
Gather books and maybe join Dragon.
Okay.
Drink.
So, like, to
Absolutely,
join and
why not?
hopefully they serve some food at this establishment.
I wonder
Yeah.
if they serve
We
cod.
can get dinner together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys
They're
make
fish and chips.
yeah, right. You guys make your way to the Codfather. It's about a 25-minute walk, kind of following the short direction she gave you through town. You guys make your way to what looks like a very hospitable part of town. It doesn't look too fancy. It doesn't look like it's too dilapidated or anything like that. You guys make your way to the Codfather. Sit down and you order. And if you want, there are in fact fish and chips on the menu, but they are cod, which is their specialty, as well as sweet potato fries. If you would like some sweet potato fries.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they do have regular tuber fries.
I would I'd find I'd probably do they have a bar?
Yeah, it's a tavern, so it's
Yeah.
got food, it's got alcohol, it's got all kinds of stuff.
All right, I'd find like a corner seat so that like I'm not taking up a lot of room at
Okay.
the bar, as I do want to kind of take out some of my books along with my food. I'd also get what are the drinks looking like?
You want me to pull up the drinks, huh?
I want a full menu.
Mary.
Okay. All right.
Rosito made with salmon roe.
All right.
Fish drinks, of course.
So you have the Nutty Horn, which is a brown nutty ale. On the left tap, there are 3 taps. You have the Nutty Horn on left, which is their local brown ale. It's starting to go. It's like the last couple of barrels. It was last season specialty, and there is still a little bit left. They're kind of selling. It's at the cheaper price. Then you have Time Joy, THYME Joy, which is a lighter, more aromatic wheat beer that they sell for what you would imagine is like an average price of a 8 copper a glass. The Nutty Horn is 5 copper a glass. The Time Joy is 8 copper a glass. And then they have the newest thing on tap, which is all of the rage. So it's 2 silver a glass, Steamy Gloom. And as you pour it, you see that itself, it's like this weird dark gray black, and there's like this smoke coming off of it. It doesn't smell good either. So, but it is popular. People are buying it.
Isn't that true of all beer, though, that it doesn't smell good?
What was the Time Joy again?
It's a now seasonal wheat beer that is 8 copper a glass. So 5 copper, 8 copper, 2.5 silver.
You got change for gold?
They can make change for gold. They are a tavern. Yes, they can do that.
You got change for a platinum piece?
We'll take that money here.
You got any? Let me hand them some Electrum, like that's ever used.
They throw it back in your face and throw you out. Get out of my bar.
I'm kicked out of the city entirely.
Yep.
Who uses Electrum? Ugh. I'd get a Time Joy. I'd set up my books to read. I'd get my food. I'd also, as they have kindly joined me throughout all this, I would offer to pay for Pax's and Thea's drinks and food as well.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
So you want me to just, like, get rid of, like,
Thank you.
We'll say that if you're getting every that we'll say 2.5 gold is fine.
Cool.
And then there's also let me see, I got some food here for you. You also have oh come on, it's not gonna let me copy and paste it. Not like me that much. There we go. So you got three chef specialties on the menu today. And then let's see. So, all right, you got yourself some fire-grilled basil and clove salmon, oven-grilled onions and creamed rabbit, cherry and guava buns, and then you also have the ability to get the old standard cod and chips if you so choose. So, but yeah, so between your guys' dinner and reading, you guys spend the evening kind of hanging out together, studying, eating, relaxing, and then I assume eventually heading back to Esther's place to rest, or are you finding somewhere else to rest for the night?
The Esther's after the rounds.
How
late is it at this point?
By the time you guys get dinner and go through a few rounds, drinks, and probably getting closer to 9:30.
I'll probably stop by the Bouncy Comet Salad to say hello and like leave my contact info and then go back.
Okay. Absolutely.
Occasionally, during all the reading and eating and drinking, I would like to ask whoever's behind at some point during the night. I would like to ask the whoever's behind the bar. I'd be like, I'm new in town. I got some books from the library. What can you tell me about the city? What's the talk? What's the talk of the town? I broke him.
Right, talk apparently, yes.
Oh,
No
you did break me. I was
talk,
muted.
only silence.
I was broke.
I get nothing. We
yeah.
silenced him again.
You broke everything. I was drinking water and forgot that I muted myself. No, so you asked the bartender, who's like a middle-aged human man, a little bit balding on the sides, brown eyes, a little paler skin. Looks like he probably spends a lot of his time out of the sun, indoors, basements, working, doing what he does. You find after talking to his name is Sigurd Bach, Sigurd Bach. But he tells you that currently the main talk of the town is just that the king has just been he's been different. the past, it's been getting more noticeable in the past week or two, but he's seemingly becoming more short-tempered and angrier at things that would seemingly not bother him before. And the word right now, with the bartender telling you he doesn't leave his bar too often, short of having to go and do business stuff. He's normally here working. That there's something that he guesses recently happened that's just really set the king off. He doesn't know what it is. He's trying to keep his nose out of it all. He just hears it from his patrons because obviously they talk to him. But something's going on, and the king is getting more angry and more short-tempered. Maybe it's because he's getting older and he just doesn't have the patience like he used to have anymore. But he has been in a steadily declining mood that is becoming more and more public as the days go by. He tells you that the king himself used to be pretty reserved and well-maintained as far as bursts and tempers and showing any type of strong emotion one way or the other to the public. He used to be more reserved in that regard, but he's becoming less reserved and more just forward, and it's kind of throwing people for a loop and making people less comfortable with him being there. But what are they going to do? Because he's the king. So
I would hand the good man. I'd kind of like slide over like a gold piece because I'm about to hit him with a very specific question. I would ask him. How long has the king been in power? Has his family been here for long? Has it always been, a royal family, or did they come here through power and force?
This king came to power, if I recall, after
Giving him a gold piece for this knowledge.
Yeah, he's trying to remember, because it's legitimately like he's only middle-aged, so for him it was like his teenage years, so he had other more things
okay,
to
so
worry
it's
about.
not like
it was,
give me another gold piece and I'll remember.
It's him actively trying to remember of the specific of time frame.
Okay.
I think about 30 years ago, I think. And he goes, what year is it? It's 1050? Yeah, it was about 1020 AS is when it happened, so about 30 years ago, if my math is correct. But it something, I don't know, I was in the process, my family was, of moving to the city. We hadn't quite really started working or establishing ourselves here. We just were making our way here since we had heard that the city was on the up and ups. I guess he came to power through some type of uprising. I don't know. I was just a kid. My parents could tell you, but unfortunately they passed. They both got sick and they died 5-6 years ago. Real sad story, but nothing. That's no here or there. But yeah, it's 30 years ago, I think it happened.
Interesting. Okay, I would thank him for the knowledge. I'd say sorry for your losses. How I kind of. I slide him another gold piece in understanding that if he doesn't want to answer this question, he doesn't. But I'm giving it to him as take this. You can have it if you want. I would ask him what sickness, took his parents.
Oh, it was something with their mind. They started losing their memories for a couple of years, and they weren't quite remembering things, and then they just became less physically capable of doing things, and then they just kind of just went downhill, and there was no real cure, no real treatment for it, and they kind of passed. They were older anyway. I'm 45 now, so they would probably be 80, so they were in their mid-70s, which it's kind of old, I guess. So it's just one of those things that you just get sick when you get older, and sometimes there's no real treatment or cure for it. Just one of those things. I think they both just I don't think they could live without each other because they passed relatively quickly after each other. My mom died first, and then about a month later, my dad passed. But he never got out of bed after she passed. So I think he died of a broken heart. To be perfectly honest with you.
Does this connect? Does this fit?
No,
Does it ring bells?
this to you just sounds like something from old age. It doesn't sound like anything from your journal. This just sounds like two older folks who just got sick, and then they just died.
Okay. Well, I would think for his time, I'd also ask him if there are any current rooms that I could possibly get, or a room I could, pay for.
Yeah, I got a couple. Is it just you, or is it your friends too, or how many rooms?
Well, Pax and Thea, would you like to join me here? I would like to keep up my studies, which is why I will not be going back to the house.
I will probably head back to Esther's to spend the night. Seems comfortable enough, and I'll do a quick detour, I think, do a little bar hopping tonight. I haven't done that in a long time. So, no room for me, but thank you for the offer, Dragon. And if Dragon's going to ask May for a room, I'm going to try to sneak the innkeeper some gold to pay for Dragon's room since he bought my food. Haha.
I mean, the innkeeper will never turn away money, so whatever money you're sliding. He's a businessman, but also really likes money, so you can he'll take the money. You can roll sleight of hand and just at advantage just to see.
Oh sure, I know. That's fine.
Just to see.
Do.
Because I want to see how this plays out. It'd be funny if it was 2 1s.
The old
Oh, God.
lady sleight of hand.
Yeah, you gotta slide it, and
Hold on.
yeah, you can roll a perception.
Oh,
You don't see it. It's like as he's talking to his hand on his pocket, kind of flicks it, and at the second where you would notice it, you see the barkeep he has a wooden mug kind of on its side and slams down on top of it, and you hear the coin kind of spin on the inside, and he's just like "Hoo-doo-doo-doo," kind of whistling to himself. But everybody else notices it, but you were just like, oh, whatever. That's weird, but sure.
busy in my studies.
Yeah.
Well, I would get a room.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. He gives you a key to room number 3 upstairs.
And I would wish the others good night then, and then head up to the room and take all my my books.
Okay. May, are you staying or are you going?
Go, because I want to check in with Naomi and see how she's doing.
Oh,
We haven't seen her for most of the day.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Dragon heads upstairs. Pax and May, you guys kind of make that side tour up to the bouncy comet Saddler. Leave your business card or whatever it is that you leave, so people know who you are and how to I guess not locate you, but kind of put your name out there. And you see that this is a ritzier place. This is where people who are of wealth seem to come and spend time. There's not a lot of people talking to people who they aren't there with. It's like you see different tables, but those groups are not interacting with anybody else in the bar. They're just staying in their little cliques. And the bartender is wearing like a full 3-piece suit with a bow tie. And this is a very high class establishment compared to where you just were. Mm-hmm. But,
This is the bouncy comet Saddler?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right. So you guys, anything in particular you were doing there, or are you just kind of popping?
Again, getting the vibe, seeing if there's any Fey folk or satyrs. And yeah, letting the staff know where I'm staying. That I'm interested in meeting said folks. Cultural exchange,
Yeah, yep. They do mention that there are occasionally Fey folk that come here, but there haven't been any in probably 3 or 4 days. But normally, every week or two, there are people of all different backgrounds and heritages that make their way through. So just stopping by daily, you might run into someone. There's no real schedule that they come in of anyone really, but if you stop in regularly, it's likely that you'll eventually just run into someone of the ilk that you're looking for.
Cool.
So, all right. So after stopping there, you guys head back to the hall residence, of which Naomi, you are there with Simon and the rest of the family. So let me pop y'all over here. Dragon, I'm going to stick you just out here because you're technically outside the house. Although I don't know if that's going to be dark for you. Oh, it's all black.
I see nothing.
Let's sit you right there. So
Yeah.
we'll
Put me
sit
in
you
the
there.
corner. Just put me in the corner of where everyone is.
He
That's
gets to
fair.
be Snoopy now.
You get to be Snoopy, so you can just basically be right there so that you can just see what people are doing. But yeah, so you guys make it back, and you see Xylerin and Ursa are there to welcome you. And your sister Esther has not quite made it home yet. She, when you arrive, Naomi, she's not there. But as Anthea and Pax enter, she is a solid 2 minutes behind them, and then she comes in. She go ahead and takes off all of her daily armor and all of the stuff that she basically. I'm gonna put you up here in the living room. You're gonna be in the fire dragon because I think that's funny.
I am the smoke.
Damn
Santa Claus.
But yeah, so you guys are talking, just recapping your afternoon, and you hear the door open and close. Esther call up that she's home, and then you hear a big ka-thunk as she mounts her armor and her weaponry and puts on her grandma house slippers and her house coat and makes her way up the stairs and in the living room. And looks around. It's like, oh, I feel like we're missing a person. Did Mr. Draken decide to not stay tonight? Is he alive? Is he in jail?
He's fine. He's conducting his studies in town and didn't want to bother us here with his books and such.
All right, understood.
They didn't convince you to get a library card, did they?
Convince how?
By offering you a library card and saying how great of a deal it was and that you could borrow books and that they would come get it from you and all that stuff.
I mean, yeah, I really wanted this book about cobbling, so it seemed like a good deal. Was I wrong?
Did you sign up for a library card?
I mean, yes. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to take the book.
Oh dear. Just
Oh no.
be timely. Be timely.
Okay.
Yeah, be timely because it's not fun to find the corpses of overdue late book borrowers and bury them. So yeah, be timely.
It becomes rather tedious for some because people don't really realize what they're getting into. Just be timely. Pay the extra fee and just give the book back.
Gleba hides under her hat. Like it's shaking a little bit.
You see the hat kind of quivering on Anthea's head, and you hear Rupert from under the hat.
Okay. She starts like frantically scribbling notes to remind herself to return the book, just to be sure.
Don't worry, you won't be late. They will make sure of that. Just if the message comes in, just answer it and ask for the delivery, no matter where you are, and pay it.
Okay, well, I wish we'd known this beforehand. But I guess as long as we return it on time, it's okay.
Yes, don't worry. Their pickup service is very prompt. And they will definitely come and get the books. So you should be fine. Just when they call, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, answer it. If you are sleeping, I highly recommend that you wake up and you answer it. Because it will wake you up. It's very loud. There's a reason I don't go to libraries. This one is the one that I grew up with.
right. Unless there's anything else you
Um,
specifically want to accomplish for the night.
I have a question for Esther actually.
Oh, yes. What?
Can we talk? Can we talk in the room?
Sure.
Yes. And she will actually lead Esther down to this room.
Boop. All right.
There's been some talk that I heard during my stroll around the city of the king not being in a good mood. What is happening?
I don't know. He is not quite as reserved as he used to be when we were growing up. You know, he was always more of that quiet, reserved kind of ruler. But lately, he has been just more, shall we say, with his emotions, and his anger doesn't seem to be able to be tempered in the way that it was before. I don't specifically know why, but he's been more short-tempered, more angry lately, and just generally not in a good mood. I've made a point to stay out of his way, unless I had to see him, as I have other business to attend to. But, you know, that's another one of the reasons why Mother and Father also left the city, to avoid that.
It's that bad that even Dad left?
Yeah, he just doesn't want to deal with it. Because his exact words were, "I'm not the general anymore, kid. You can deal with it." And he left.
Oh boy. That speaks volumes how bad the situation is. And the queen hasn't been able to ease him in any way? Like, I would kind of expect her to be able to
She
help a
has
little.
not said anything publicly with which to try to deter the behavior. So I don't know what happens in their private sanctuaries, but publicly, no. She has not questioned his behaviors. She has refrained from doing that lately, for some reason.
So, I have a feeling that the news that I will be presenting tomorrow will not be taken well.
Probably not.
Based on his current state of mind and attitude, between the scale of 1 through 5 that you and I both know very well comes with punishments, where do you think I'm going to land?
I don't know. I think it's going to be about how you present the information, but probably a solid 3. Maybe you can put on some of your Naomi charm and get it to a 2? Maybe?
Your confidence does not help me in the least.
Yeah, I mean, just don't piss him off anymore. Seems easy enough, right?
I guess so. I mean, I let my Corey escape, but I saved 3 lives in a town in an area that he's never heard of, and I don't know. I can't be locked up for that long.
I mean, right. You can't be locked up for that long. Die, but, you know, I don't think he's going to put you in jail unless you really piss him off, so I don't know. And again, I'm also the general and you're a commander, so do you really think that the prison guards are going to treat you badly? They know how terrifying you are, and they know how terrifying I am. So really, even if you're in jail, it'll be fine.
I guess, but I can't help but feel like they would try to take a jab at me once or twice, at least while I'm in there, and I don't blame them. I mean, why not kick a dog while it's down? She kind of looks around, saying that out loud, she looks around, she kind of like lets out a breath of air that she didn't bring Simon with her. She's like, oh, okay, thank God.
You hear Simon in your head just panting and snoring
Oh, good.
from the other room.
Man, I wonder what's caused such drastic a shift in mood. I mean, relations are still going well with the other kingdoms, right?
I haven't heard one way or the other. I assume so.
I mean, they haven't sent you out to do anything, and I passed some of the regular commanders, so I would assume it's not too bad if no one's out on anything but patrol.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard. There's been no real. Well, I mean, I've heard, but there hasn't been any real reports of anything significant enough to garner my full attention.
Is there anything that has been said to you that warrants even a head turn?
I mean, he wants to do what his plan has always been, and that's to take over more of the kingdom, more of the continent. You know that he is. He's always trying to take over the rule of the kingdom of Elsafasia. He's trying to figure out ways to get around the politics of it and find a way to militarize and take over their lands.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't, other than him wanting to do that more so now than normal. I mean, nothing's been in the works to move the military there. I would know. I have to make that plan. But no, I haven't heard anything that's really head-turningly worthy.
And that paperwork is absolutely atrocious. So yes, I'm sure you would be the first to hear about it, along with anybody else. Okay, well, I will brace myself for the worst and possibly dash back to the barracks before I go to pack a "you're gonna be in jail for a while" bag. Haven't packed one of those since that that one time, but that was well worth it.
Yeah. Alright, well, I think I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go get Ursa. We're gonna put Xylerin down, as much as he hates us putting him to bed, because he's an adult now, even though he's really only a teenager. But, we're gonna go put him to bed. And don't keep him awake at night, all night, with your stupid games and stories like you always do. He needs rest and goes to school tomorrow.
Alright, if he stays up too long, I'll just knock him out.
Don't beat my child, please. He's got magic now, Just
I know.
saying.
Now it's actually going to be a fight.
I don't know about that. I think you'd still beat him. But anyway, alright, I'm gonna get the rest of them. You're welcome to stay in the room with him, as I know you like to do, or here, or wherever. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll bunk up with the little turd.
Alright. Cool. Alright, she walks through here, and, it's been great having you all here. You're more than welcome to sleep wherever you see fit. Feel free to use the facilities, the bathroom, kitchen, whatever you wish. But I think it is time that Xylerin, you go to bed. Your mother and I will put you down, and then we're also going to go to bed. We have work to do tomorrow. And she looks at Ursa very sternly, goes, "He has to go to school." She kind of goes, "Okay, fine." And you see, with that, she bids every one of you taking the child and putting him in bed, and the two of see Esther and her wife both retire to their bedroom, and you hear the door shut behind them, and they go to sleep.
Don't worry, guys. This fireplace is very cozy.
But yeah, there's a large bed. The two of you could share if you want, or one of you can have that. One of you on the couch or the floor, however you want to set up your sleeping arrangements. Anthea and Pax, you guys are welcome. But Simon's gonna make his way in and just sleep on the rug in the middle of the bedroom where Xylerin is, nor Naomi will bunk up as well. So unless you three have additional stuff you wish to do, mushroom chair.
Nope.
All right, cool.
Nope.
So you're there. I'm just gonna put you guys in different places.
It is
so
incredibly dark in this room.
Oh no! Is it very dark in there?
Did you turn off the light in this room?
I may have just done one of these.
It's nighttime.
Holy crap, it's dark. There we go. So,
Yes, it's
so this is the good bed?
roll a d10 and 1 to 5. Yes, his bed is. Yeah, it's you are on the good bed, but that's also his bed over there that he likes.
Alright, cool. I am gonna sleep with my glaive on me to make it very clear that I'm sleeping in this bed and he is not going to take it.
That's fine. That is hilarious and just fine. So yeah, you go to sleep, and the other two of you, unless you have anything you wish to do, also rest down and go to sleep.
Does that mean
Anything?
long rest?
In a moment.
He does.
Cool.
Soon.
And Dragon, as you're reading through your books, you're starting to read a little bit, and as you're reading through, it's like you're reading a history textbook almost. Like you're getting like a third to fourth person perspective, like down the line of what happened in some of these battles. And as you're reading through, they say they're 30 years ago, and a lot of people died. Thousands of people died in this uprising to get the current king into power. And the person who's writing this was not actually part of the battle. They had heard it second and third hand from people who were. And as you're reading some of these words, you get the occasional memory flashback, and you see yourself fighting. You see yourself talking to, at that point, it was Commander Marfont. He was one of the military leaders. They're then talking to him again, and he's wearing a crown. You're getting bits and pieces as you're reading through this book, and things feel like memories, but you can't quite grasp on to the totality of the information that you're reading. It's not all coming back in any way. It's just, it feels like you were there, but you don't know why, because you don't remember. So.
Interesting. Okay.
But you fall asleep reading through this book, and you all benefit from a long rest.
Woo!
Cool.
All right. I made sure to reopen my box.
There you go. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick break until, let's say, 10 minutes.
Like 3 past or so.
So,
And Alex, just because I'm going to work on it,
Mhm.
if it is the case, is the gibberish text in quotation marks in alphanumeric characters like a solvable cryptogram, or just, something more?
Oh, that was the actual language translation. That was Infernal and Primordial. So if you speak Infernal or Primordial, you understand what they are. That's just what it looked like in
Okay.
the journal for
But maybe
people
it was
who
like
are
a
unable
word
to read
puzzle
it.
or something. So very
No, that's the actual primordial language that the text was written in, and then the sorceress translated it and gave you what it says in common. Yes, on the O3.
alright. Be back in 10.
good.
All right. So you guys benefit from a long rest, got your spell slots back, all your HP, all your stuff. Those of you who can change spells can. With the knowledge that you're going to the castle today, Dragon, are you coming back to the hall residence before? Or are you going to just kind of maneuver your way to the castle and meet them there? Because you didn't talk about what time of day you're going or how you're getting there.
That's true, but I did ask Naomi to inform me when they were going.
Does Naomi have a way to do that?
I mean, is the Codfather on the way?
Someone would have to
Told
tell
her
me
where
where
he
you're
is.
staying. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I would do? You'd hear scratching at your door because I would send Simon.
All
If
right.
it's less than a mile away, I would send Simon.
I think it's probably more than a mile away.
I would still send Simon.
All right.
Simon.
So you wake up to a scratching on your door, and as you open, you see a big, floppy face looking fey dog.
Fantastic. Yeah, I get my gear ready and all my stuff, and I'll head off to wherever we're meeting.
All right. So Simon basically just brings you back to the hall house, and as you arrive,
Actually, real
Everybo-
quick, I
Mhm.
would, for the purposes of stuff, I would like to toss Sigurd, I remember his name, another gold piece and just kindly ask him if he could hold the room for me.
he nods and says, "Of course." So he pulls out his book and writes another, like a plus sign beside your name, as if just saying add another night onto the hold for the room. So,
Cool.
So he just has his own little tracking system
And then I
set
set
up.
off.
So you make your way back. Simon leads you back to the hall household, and as you're arriving, everyone's kind of finishing up breakfast, and you see that everyone. You wake up, Naomi, to your sister and your sister-in-law both waking up Xylerin and making sure he goes to school. So he leaves before everyone, and you assume he's made his way to school. But as you arrive and everybody is outside getting all their stuff on and ready, Draken.
Am I still burning alive?
You see Ursa. She walks up to you and says, "I don't know how much you enjoy breakfast or not, but I did pack you a meal since we all were able to enjoy breakfast together. I didn't want you to feel as if you weren't welcome or were forgotten, because neither of those are true." And she hands you a small little bagged breakfast. So
Thank you.
That's cute.
she's like, "Well, I'll be on my way." And you see she grabs a hat. She runs up, gives Esther a goodbye kiss, grabs her hat and kind of flips it, puts it on her head, and whoosh, she changes her image to look like somebody else. She walks out the door, and she also leaves. She's like, "Well, I also have to go to work, so good luck with the king. I'll obviously know if you go to jail, so good luck with that. And I'll maybe see you tonight, I guess. You're welcome to stay. Lock when you go." And she just follows right out the door, going to work. Like, bye.
Bye.
You know you know how to lock up the house. You've stayed here many, many, many nights, Naomi. So she trusts that you'll do what you need to do. Yeah, probably. If not, who's gonna break into the general's house? Probably nobody. So nobody is that. Well, there are some people that are that dumb, but nobody up here. So yeah, you guys get all of yourselves situated. You get all your gear on, all your stuff.
When during the night while I was, reading over everything, could I have made a copy, like maybe on a separate page, of all the notes that I have?
Sure.
Okay.
You
Because
can we'll just say that instead of doing the thing that I said you could do, that you could do that instead, because that would take equivalent time, and you do need sleep. So
yeah. Could I rush just a few simple sets of notes describing everything I learned at the library
yeah,
in the morning, so I can kind of do both, just the rush, simple notes.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, because I would like to take these notes. The basics of everything I learned at the library. Trying to get airborne. All the important stuff.
Yep.
And I would, call Naomi over and hand the copy of the notes, the rush notes, albeit, and say, these, I found more about the flu and everything that was happening back home. These may be able to aid you with the book I gave you earlier. It's extra notes that you could possibly hand in.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you. Wow, I can't believe you got this all translated in such a timely manner. I don't think any of us understood it. Oh God, you went to the library, didn't you?
I got some help, yes.
Did you get a library card?
I did. I've been studying. I've been doing some studying on my own.
Oh, good gracious, you rented books, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, when they buzz you to return the books, return them and pay the fee. Unless you are in town, just say you're on your way, and immediately stop what you're doing and go there. If not, pay the fee. If you need money, I will help, but pay the fee.
I appreciate the concern. We were told all of this at the library.
No, what they don't tell you is the repercussions of not returning the book on time.
Oh, we were told about the Guardians.
I still don't think you were told enough, but I assume that you got enough of a warning that you feel you understand that returning the book needs to be a priority.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'd rather not have anyone. Let's just go, shall we?
Why do I look so small? My token looks smaller compared to everyone else's. This is
I think it's because I think I copied it from a different
There we
space.
go. That looks nice.
There you go. Happy? Alright, so you guys all make your way toward the castle. Anything that you wish to do on your way there?
Can we say that I took the morning to shine and polish my armor so that way I looked presentable?
Sure. While you're waiting for Dragon to get back?
Yep, waiting for Simon to literally play fetch with Dragon.
Alright, yeah.
Does our walk, is it cutting through are we walking through main city streets, or does it at any point are we walking through a market of any kind?
You can pass through a market if you want.
Okay. Do they have any? Is there anyone selling any? I don't use it often, but after fighting a flying person, is there anyone? Are there any markets that sell, or any shops that sell bolts?
Oh yeah, just common crossbow bolts.
Just simple bolts, or
yeah,
just simple bolts.
Yeah, you can get this pretty easy.
Okay, I'm not looking for anything special. What is it? A gold for 20?
I think that's what it says in D&D Beyond. Yeah.
Okay, I will buy 40.
Okay, cool. So you have 40 bolts.
And that is all I wish to buy. Just a little pit stop.
Okay. All right. I will say, as you guys are walking, that there is someone yelling out, trying to get some attention for this little activity that he says is going on. He's like, step right up, and see if you can match in strength Royd Heavy Hand Turlock, the breaker of walls, siege weapon of a man. And you just see him calling out, trying to get people to challenge Royd Heavy Hands Turlock to breaking down. Yes, it is a legal activity. It's basically a strength contest. It's this guy, instead of trying to break wooden boards, he's breaking a stone wall with his body. So trying to get people, it's a little gnome that's yelling out, trying to get people to challenge him, and people are just kind of ignoring this dude. Just this dude who's yelling and trying to get people to come and break through his walls. So you see that as you're walking by. You can do whatever you want with it, or just keep on keeping on. You do see the guy that he's yelling about, however, is a massive muscular orc with rich green skin, humongous hands, and a sinister smile, missing one tusk, but wearing a heavy golden chain. So he's just like getting real pumped, smashing through a wall, and then the guy who is calling out for people to challenge him is just magically repairing the wall every time that he smashes through it. So you imagine this is their thing that they try and get money out of people with. So it's like a carnival game, but in the middle of the street. So
Fortunately, I think we have more pressing matters.
all right. As you walk by, the little dude yells at you, "Oh, you're too weak? You don't think you could take on Royd Turlac? All right, I know his heavy hands are too big for y'all tiny folk. Keep on keeping on." He himself is like 3 feet tall, so him calling people
I could punt this man.
Yeah, you could. You really could.
Naomi
He's
would
not big.
stop and turn and look at Dragon. Does he look like he really wants to participate?
Dragon?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
He's more like, he's got that old man face of, I'm too old for these games. Just let's go see the king.
All right.
That's the type of face he has right now. He also a slight hint of, I want to punt this gnome on his face.
Gotcha. Okay.
I wanted to say his name a lot, so because it's fun.
Just a slight hint of violence on Dragon's face. Just a slight hint.
All right.
Naomi would stop and turn to Dragon and
I'm
say,
back.
"We don't have a specific time that we have to be there if you wish to partake."
In what? The wall or punting of a gnome?
One's legal, one's not.
And you guys do not have seeming on you, so you do look like yourselves.
What are the odds we can pass a gnome punting law? It's legal on every Tuesday at exactly 3:50. It's like a holiday.
I will say that compared to your first day in town, the mood seems a little bit different today. It's not like it's like more wild or crazy. It just feels a little bit more tense. There's tension in the air that you can attribute to the king being just in a worsening the mood, and it's kind of starting to trickle down. So but yes, you guys make your way for the next couple hours, because I imagine you're probably lollygagging a bit, knowing that you're going to meet a person who is not in the best of moods, who has all of the power. And you guys make your way through the town. A couple hours go by, lots of people stand and stop and salute Naomi. At this point, you could probably just hold your hand up and just walk through the street with a constant salute going, and that would probably just be like, all right, I get it. But
The
yes.
salute of what's like? Does this city have any special soldier salute?
Yeah, it's their standard military salute. But yeah, so you guys make it eventually to the front of the gates of the castle. And as you go to approach, you see the 2 castle guards who are standing out front of the doors kind of cross their glaives to create like an X and kind of stop you from entering. And one speaks up and says, "Why are you here? What do you need?"
I'm here to report to the king.
And the rest?
They have accompanied me through quite a journey, and I'll have presence and business else with us as well.
All right. But just so you know, as you are the only one who has direct information with the king, you will be the one allowed through first, while the others wait until they are called through by the king himself. They will wait in the hallways outside the main entrance to the throne room with the guards who stand there. They will likely be called in, but since you are the one with the immediate business, you will be the only one permitted to enter immediately. Understood?
Understood.
And you understand that you technically have rank on guys, but they are doing their job because they report directly to the king, who can then put them under your command. So you could technically pull rank on them, but they're going to just do their job because you get it. It's their job. They have to do it.
Yeah,
so,
the entire response from Naomi is, you're doing your job, and I understand that.
It's like, good job. You're a good employee today, sir.
Good
All right,
job
so
doing your work.
Right. So they stand up their weapons to their javelins so that you guys can enter through, and you guys get led through the castle grounds, through the main hallway into the base of the hallway, into the base of the throne room, which I'll put you guys in the throne room. So, ooh, spooky.
Ooh.
It was spoopy.
So you guys are.
Threatening.
So you guys come in from this side. I just kind of stacked you, whatever. You want Simon with, put him with you, or you can leave him wherever.
I saw that too.
Cool. But yeah, so you guys are all here.
Ready.
Naomi, I'm gonna put you up here first, and then the rest of you, I'll put up. So he can come with you. I'm gonna drag you guys through here. So you guys are basically all led to here, and told for you to make your way to the king. And as you guys enter, you see from the hallway that you walked in, there were 4 guards. And Dragon, as you kind of look down the other hallway, you see there are 4 more guards. You see, looking in, there is more than a dozen guards leading up to the king. I mean, you've been here before. You know that there are archers on the floor above with crossbows. You know there are hundreds of guards throughout this castle. You know that this place is very well protected, very well fortified, and that the king is never far from his lieutenant and his drow guard captain. So as you make your way,
I have a question about that. Is
absolutely.
Is his captain at the same rank as me, or is it at the same rank as my sister? Or is it Bernard's rank?
It's his captainship is more of like he's the king's personal bodyguard. So he has the title of captain, and it's more of like it's a rank not for military rank. It's more of a court rank of he's his personal guard, and the guard lieutenant is below you, your brother, and your sister, but is like the commander, the direct commander of all of these troops in here, but under command of that captain. So that captain can command everyone in the castle if he chooses, but his primary focus is to be the direct bodyguard of the king and the queen themselves, whereas the guard lieutenant who's up here is more of like the standard person in charge of the castle guard, but he does report to the captain who reports to the king. So everybody's got a boss, but this is like, if you want to figure out stuff with, like if someone needs the castle guard to do something, it's normally the guard lieutenant who's commanding them, whereas if you need like orders for like super protection, it's going to be the drow captain who is like the direct protector of the king and the queen.
Okay,
So,
got it.
Yep. Yeah, he's like the boss guy. Not boss guy, but like the big guard drow. All right, so you are able to put yourself wherever you want to put yourself, Naomi, in the presence of the king. I will let you place yourself if you want Simon to go with you, or if you want him to stay back here.
She would have Simon stay back.
Okay.
And she would probably get respectively between the 2 guards that are there, and not approach any further unless called.
Okay. You see the king, who was looking at his wife, the queen, looks up at you, and his face looks more tired and exasperated than you saw last time. As you approach and you see him sitting in the center throne with his wife, Queen Priscilla, sitting in the throne to his right, and an empty throne to his left with a blue cloth hanging over it, as if it's just waiting for whoever the person is that is supposed to be sitting in that throne. You can see that while looking exasperated, he also just doesn't look happy in general. He's kind of slumped in his throne. He is a large man. He is a very muscular gentleman. His garb is that of all red with black accents. And he kind of goes from looking at Priscilla to kind of down to the ground and kind of lifts his eyes and then his head to you and goes, "So, I hear you failed."
Naomi would be probably on one knee with her glaive resting beside her, and one hand on the ground and the other hand on her knee to show that she's not touching her weapon at all. And she says, "Yes, Your Majesty, she was able to elude me in the Shadowfell, which is where the blimp ended up landing. And upon our landing, I was able to help save 2 other passengers, and we found our way through the Shadowfell thanks to help from another traveler as well. And not only were we able to do that, but we were able to discover and prevent a formidable disease that was plaguing the Shadowfell, that we have documentation of it and possible ways to deduce a solution if it were to ever show up here on the material plane."
He kind of nods. "So what I hear are excuses for why you didn't complete your task."
No excuses.
But I believe what kind of tale you just spun was that of, well, fantasy and traveling between planes because you couldn't find the person who I tasked you with finding. The woman who has managed to find every single person who's ever been tasked to find before, but this one yet eludes you somehow. I feel like you just don't want to admit your failure, and you are spinning a tale to try and have a better excuse for failure than just accepting the fact that you failed.
While I do accept my failure in the mission and am willing to take any formidable punishment as you see fit, I do have a person who is from the Shadowfell here with me, along with the documentation here in my storage compartment, and along with him, and also the 2 witnesses from the blimp crashing. Was it a blimp? Yeah. From the blimp crashing, they are also here with me as well. They can vouch for the authenticity of my story. I do not deny that I have failed you, but I swear upon my oath to you that everything that I have said is true."
So what happened to the men that we sent with you?
I was never able to retrieve any of them. I do not know if they fell within the Rhymes of the Shadowfell, if they fell somewhere else, or what has begun their fate. I wish them all well, and I hope that they are all alive.
Well, I don't think well wishes will make their families feel any better, as they have not yet. I can only assume they are dead. So we have to take gold from our own coffers to pay for the worth of those soldiers that you let die under your watch. Well then, if your story is as true as you say it is, bring in the whatever they are. And you see one of the guards, this guard right here, kind of makes his way down slowly into the fire, and then he bequeaths you all to come with him. Says, just kind of nod, like points at all of you, and then just kind of waves for you to follow. And then he starts walking back
as
this
they're
way.
gone, she will remove the notes, the translated notes in the book that Dragon had given her, and place it down in front of her, and then go back to her bowing position.
Okay. So this guy will lead all of you up here. So you guys can all put your tokens up behind Naomi wherever you would like to put them.
I like to think I'd be first through the door.
Yeah, you guys can go through whatever way you want. And he sees, as you put the notes down, one of the guards who was beside you grabbed them and brought them and gave them to the king. And as the three of you arrive behind Naomi, who is in the kneeling position, you see the king is the king is reading these notes that Dragon you recognize as the notes that you gave to Naomi a little while ago. And as he's reading and you guys approach, he kind of holds up his hand for y'all to halt and stay where you are, and he reads through these, and then he hands them to Priscilla, and then looks at her and says, "This just seems like a fairy tale that's not even real. I don't think what they're providing is the truth. I think they're hiding something, and I think they're going to try and take power for something, for themselves. Take these and be away with them." And she takes them and then leans and calls this man over here, who you now see as the court jester, who has just been quietly standing over to the side, just kind of waiting for any cue or any direction. He steps up to the queen. She hands him the documents and then kind of ushers him away. And you see that he walks down this hallway and off somewhere
Do I
with the
recognize
documents
him?
in hand. You recognize him as the court jester. Yes, you've seen him before.
Is there any face in here that I don't know?
There are some new guards that you don't know. There are some who are a little bit younger, so you imagine they're probably more recently recruited, which is odd because the King's Court doesn't necessarily recruit new members. They typically pull from the established ranks of the military for those who have proven themselves in protective feats.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't recognize probably 30% of the guards who are lining these chambers, and there are more guards in here than there normally are, about twice as many. So there's more guards, and a lot of them are newer. You don't recognize the newer ones. They're not ones who have been in the military before, to your knowledge.
Interesting. Can I, like, very gently, like, tap my fingers in, like, a single drum against the floor and flash a divine sense?
Is it Vampire Count Shadman's garbage?
100%. You don't sense anything.
Okay.
As we're all walking up, and are there any veteran-looking guards in this room? You know, older figures.
You see that some of the older figures, the oldest folk, who are probably not even that old, they're in their late 40s, early 50s, are the bowmen that are up top. And you can probably imagine just from being a soldier yourself that as you age, being in face-to-face melee is not necessarily a strong suit anymore. So being able to just kind of take command from the rear and do ranged attacks is better suited for those who still want to be in that type of role, but their bodies just aren't what they were. So the oldest folks who are here are the 4 crossbowmen who are above you. And you do see as you get closer, though, however, the other 2 oldest men in the room are the Drought guard captain, who is this guy. Let me make his name show up for you. See, who is that guy? This guy right here.
Mhm.
And then this guard captain over here, who looks a little younger than the Drow, but it's just because he has a gray beard. So he looks a little older in the face as well. But those are the other 2 folks here. The rest are anywhere between like 18 and 34.
So my question is, I guess specifically from the veteran-looking guards, as we're walking in, do any of them seem to recognize me or make acknowledgement of specifically me entering?
No,
Or does it look like that?
they don't. They take. You see that they look at everyone walking in, but they don't take any significant action regarding any of you. So they just kind of put eyes on you and then just keep, because the guys up top they're moving. So if you like to imagine that this guy is just coming down here, yeah, they're patrolling. They're basically all just four patrolling at any given time. So they just put eyes on you, on all four of you, and they just continue doing what they're doing, making sure that they can always turn and protect the king at a moment.
And follow up, I guess, as we're walking forward and we get to the front, do I recognize the man on the throne?
Roll a history check.
Like, is this the dude from the visions?
You recognize him, yeah. But you see Naomi is
fancy.
on one knee, and you see that he has yet to make eye contact with the rest of you as he's talking to his wife, who is then passing off documents to a jester, and he's just kind of sighing and looking down at the floor a little bit. And as he looks up, everybody make perception checks.
Ooh, okay.
Perception.
I have my
that's
knowledge of the past life
not-
back. So I
Yes,
would like
hacks.
to use my my knowledge of the past life real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Add to that.
Thank
10.
God somebody's paying attention.
Right?
Right?
15. Also,
Okay,
when
there's
he
something. That's better.
when he does look at us, I would give my version of the salute, my own salute from when I guarded the village. From when I was a town soldier and stuff like that.
Pax, you see as he kind of lifts his head back up, opening his eyes from what just seems like he was holding his eyes shut, kind of letting them re-moisten. He looks back up and you see, just for a brief second, his eyes kind of flash red and then they go back to normal. Just like the briefest of, you're not even quite sure if that's what you, but it looks like a quick flash of red went through his eyes. And he
Okay,
sees...
I'll psychically message that to my colleagues with message. Hey,
So,
hey.
fun fact about message, it's not actually psychic. You do have to openly whisper it. It's just a quieter one.
Where's my other?
So
I have a
it's not telepathy.
What was
You
my
can do it. That's
sneezy?
perfectly okay, but they'll probably also all hear you based on where you are.
What
too.
was I have hang on. I thought I had a blah blah.
Silence message.
Oh wait,
Secrets.
that's not gonna work because then you'll be silent. No.
No, I'm thinking of a different thing in a different character. Yeah, I guess I'll just keep. Yeah, I'll turn around and
There's
message.
no ASL.
Verse 9. I'll just pretend like I'm dancing, kind of turn around a little bit so I can face my colleagues and not face forward, and then briefly message it with my mouth, and then
as you turn around, the guard who is beside you immediately grabs you by your shoulders and spins you to face the king, and says, he quietly says in your ear, so only you can hear, "Nobody turns their back to the king for risk of death. Do not do it again."
Okay.
Oh boy.
And he goes back to his standing guard position.
Can I just mumble natter at him, but use it as cover for actually messaging my party?
Sure. Go ahead, and since he's
Oh my
spinning
gosh.
you and you're doing that, yeah, I'll say you could pull off a message to one person.
Okay. I will message that to Anthec. She's closest, yes.
Okay.
Oh no.
So you hear that he saw a quick flash of red in the king's eyes in your head as he's being forcibly spun around.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
And he looks up and he sees your salute, Dragon. And he says, "Huh. I thought you were dead."
I kind of look at him like a quizzical look on my face. Just kind of taken aback a little bit.
Actually, I'm 100% sure you were dead. How are you here?
Naomi's head like jerks back, looking at Trigon.
You see the king, who had his legs crossed one over the other, kind of uncrosses them and sits up a little straighter in his seat, looking through you, Naomi, directly meeting the gaze of Dragon.
Jeez.
You were dead. You were dead a long time ago. How are you back?
I'm still holding my salute.
He does not return the salute.
Yeah. And I kind of say, I apologize if this reappearance is sudden to you, but I don't know what you speak of. I've been dead. That is news to me.
After you fought in the battle, which you know, as you know, put me in this throne where I deserve to be, much sooner than I was able to get here. Once that goal was accomplished, you left, you retired. Perfectly acceptable. You done your part. You got me to where I needed to be. And you decided to go home.
Transport through trees in the throne room.
And
Hey, I'm thinking of an escape route if things go south, okay? I just found out the king's eyes are glowing red.
and that was 30 years ago. You left. I heard you married the woman who you'd known for years and you'd always talked about. If I recall, her name was Amelia or something like that. I heard you'd married her, and I was excited that someone was able to go and get away from this. And then I heard you'd had some children, which everyone needs to pass on their line and their heritage. Disappointed that you were only able to bear daughters, but that's neither here nor there. But then I received a letter 26 years ago, not long after I'd taken the seat, from your wife, requesting aid, as the sole supporter of their household had gone to fight in yet another battle somewhere, somehow. I don't understand. I did not sanction any additional wars or any additional battles, and you never returned, and they presumed you dead. I refused them, as it was not a battle that I sanctioned. However, I did send someone to make sure that they were at least safe, but I did refuse them aid and gold, as they were not my responsibility, they were yours. And yet here you stand before me, seemingly alive, with a failure of a person searching for the one person in my life that I need, and two strangers who I don't know, one who dares turn his back to me, and one who looks like their hat is alive, shaking on their head. You can see at this point the king's eyes are starting to flash red every 15-20 seconds. It's kind of flashing, going back to normal. You see that he himself, his cheeks are getting a little redder, he's getting a little more agitated. He goes, I asked you, Naomi, to bring me the one person who should be in this chair, but you couldn't do that. You couldn't bring her to me for me to utilize her power like was promised to me. You failed, which means you failed me and the kingdom. And now I have to think up a new plan. I don't even know why you bothered to return. He just starts shaking his head and just sits there.
Her head just hangs lower, but she doesn't move. She doesn't say anything either.
And you two, who are you? He waves towards Pax and Anthea. Why are you in my castle? Who are you?
Apologies for the rudeness. I'm unaware of your customs. From Evermeet, and dancing and a spin is our way of showing respect to an elder, and I'll bow deeply as much as I can.
You're from the conclave that I couldn't destroy because the magic protecting it. I get it.
Yes, I'm here at the behest of Naomi as a witness to the crimes we destroyed. And I'll step back.
So you bear witness to the failure. Excellent. And you, who are you? One with the hat.
I'm Mateia, and she does like a curtsy and like tips her hat and reveals Gleba and says, "This is Gleba. My apologies. He sometimes gets a little nervous. But I'm also here to bear witness and tell the story of how Naomi has helped us out and has helped a lot of people, even though she couldn't quite complete the mission assigned. I still think she's a good person, and I don't think she should be punished too harshly for this."
So you brought a dead man and 2 witnesses to your failure to try and do what? Convince me that you deserve another chance to... What? What did you bring them all for? What are you reporting?
No, my liege, I would not expect anything but what you feel like is the true judgment in this matter. This gentleman who you seem to know and acknowledge as dead, does wish to return home to the Shadowfell, and I was hoping that some of our great mages could assist in that.
That man is not from the Shadowfell. Did you not hear? He's dead and brought back to life somehow. His family presumed him dead. He put me in this seat of power. So your failure, the long way around, is actually probably his fault. He put me where I am to put you where you are, to give you the mission that you failed. So really, I blame you both.
He does not deserve any blame. It all falls on my shoulders.
Under his breath, but loud enough for the king to hear, Dragon just says, "Are they alive?"
Well, I believe the children are. Your wife? I don't think so. But I don't know. I stopped trying to find information out about them a handful of years ago. As I have more pressing concerns than the family of a dead man.
Dragon's just kind of staring there in shock.
It is, to my understanding, that Sir Pax wishes to discuss trade and relations for his portion, and Miss Anthea is seeking knowledge, and I thought with her expertise in the sorts of fungi, that any notes that she could exchange with a lot of our council would be beneficial for both ends.
Indeed.
Of course, I'm interested in sharing any knowledge I've come across, and of course, hopefully, humbly, I would like to also learn from your scientists here.
You see, he stands up and he starts to slowly walk this way, and as he gets up, all of the guards kind of stand. Those who were a little slouching all stand at perfect attention, including the 2 guards immediately beside him. And he takes to the steps one by one. The guard captain, his personal bodyguard, having his hand at the ready to pull a weapon if need be, and the other lieutenant doing the same. He walks over and kicks your glaive a few feet from you. And without leaning down or without making eye contact in any way, says, "You think you can come in here and ask for favors after failure?" And you hear a different kind of tone in his voice that you've not heard before. It sounds a little more guttural. It sounds a little more heated, but restrained at the same time. And he walks past you, looks you in the face, Dragon, and says, "You're not my problem, and your family's not my problem. They could be alive or dead, I don't care. And I'm not going to help you find them. So do whatever you need to do as best. But if abandoning your family to the Shadowfell again is what you see as best, well then, any respect you may have been able to garner in this kingdom for your past deeds, I think, is gone." He steps over here. You can, at this point, his eyes are starting to get a little bloodshot and starting to get a little redder and just kind of staying this way. He looks at you, Pax, and says, "I have no interest in bartering or trading the knowledge of people from your land. Whatever has been brought upon them is their own fault."
We'll sniff loudly but bow formally.
And then he stands beside you, Anthea, and not looking at you, but kind of out the side of the corner of his mouth. He says, "You'll have no access to my council. You'll have no access to any magicians in the city. From what I can tell, the one you have had access to, you already ruined him and his protege." And he just walks. And then you see, well, you hear him kind of walk over this way and disappear under their tunnels underneath these two staircases on the first layer. He walks under there, and then the guard captain kind of follows and disappears. And then Queen Priscilla just kind of sits there, not really responding in any way to any of this action. You four are left, surrounded by King's Guard and the guard lieutenants and the Queen.
I kind of take a few steps forward and offer Naomi a hand.
Naomi doesn't take your hand, but she does call out to the Queen. Your Highness, I was not given any further instruction.
She stands. She takes a step forward, and she looks to the lieutenant. As she goes to look at him, she kind of like holds her fingers beside her temple for a second, and you hear her say, "Oh, but of course. But of course." And she says, "That's fine. I have also just received your next instruction. Would you like to hear it?"
Yes.
Says, "Well." She looks to the lieutenant, who is standing in front of you, and just kind of says, "You know where to take them." You know what the instruction is. Good day. And then she walks off. And at this moment, you see that all of the guards around you have all turned to face you and have their weapons at the ready. And the lieutenant says to you, I'm sorry, Commander, but I need your group to come with me. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be.
Naomi will get up, leaving her glaive behind, knowing better than to try to take it. And she will turn to the group and say, I'm sorry. Will you please follow the guards? And please don't make a ruckus.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
He says, okay, everybody follow me. And he turns and starts going this way with all of the guards and everyone following him.
Does somebody
You
pick
all-
up my glaive?
The guard does. One of
Okay.
the guards do. As you follow the lieutenant, you all are led down a few sets of staircases. As you get to the outside of a chamber, the lieutenant says, I need you all to leave all armor, weapons, and other protective devices out here. And he points to crates, 6 or 7 crates, and ushers you to put all of your belongings in them. Weapons, armor, spell components, everything. Basically asks you to get down to your underoos or just plain clothing, whatever you have available.
Would they take, I need to know this for casting purposes, would they take my, sigil for being a knight? Or would that
Yes.
stay with me? They would take it? Okay.
Everything that's not your just plain clothes or garments, plain clothes on top of them, they request that you put in the boxes.
Okay, even my rank symbol, essentially.
Correct.
I cannot.
My
cast that.
hat.
Your hat too.
That's
No.
normal clothing, though.
That's just my hat. Nothing unusual here. Okay, I put the hat in there.
All right. As you guys remove your items, your armor, your spell components, and put them all in individual crates. They're not all mixed together. They open the door. They lead you through, and he leads each of you to your own chamber and locks each of you inside a barred jail cell with 2 guards in here. And he looks at you and goes, I'm truly sorry, Commander. Hopefully this can get resolved. King has been in a foul mood lately, and he's been taking much more rash action than before. So
He wasn't. Was he like this when I left, or in the time span that I had been gone?
he was not. He looked exacerbated and tired when you left, but he didn't seem like this when you left.
What has changed? This is far from what we're used to with his morale.
Correct. You don't have your wand. You don't have nothing. I don't know. I don't know. Anyone who's asked has disappeared. So, we just don't. But again, I'm sorry, but this is where you will remain until otherwise. You'll be given food and water every day. Each of your cells has a cot and a toilet pot, so hopefully you can get out of here sooner rather than... But until then...
What is the fate of my comrades, though? They... surely their punishment is less than mine.
The king seems to change his mind on a whim for what punishments are appropriate for what failures and whose. If you are associated with failure, you're a failure by association. So, those are the king's new ways, apparently. But until then, hopefully we can resolve this issue, or your sister, brother can, or father, and we get you out of here. But until then, my hands are tied. I'm sorry, Commander. And he turns to walk out, and where there was a door, he closes the door, and then you see that stone appears in front of the door. And Anthea and Pax, you recognize this as a magical spell of Wall of Stone that has now secured you in the room with the four of you and these two guards who stood at the ready when their lieutenant walked in and stood there while giving you instructions. But after they left and the Wall of Stone went up, they both went back to just kind of sitting and hanging out.
Yeah.
My sincerest apologies, everyone. I expected to deal with some form of punishment, but I did not expect it to fall on you all as well. Please accept my apologies.
Of course. We adapt, you know?
Frankly, I'm very surprised that this is an outcome, at least for you. I mean, this is, to be perfectly frank, this is kind of what I expected for myself. But I did not expect to have company.
Well, at least we can make your incarceration a bit pleasant. I'm sure we'll find a way out of this.
Could you sing us a song to keep us company?
Yes.
Exactly.
Some jailhouse blues, perhaps.
Jailhouse rock.
That's a really good idea.
But yeah, so you all have cots, toilet pots, and like blankets and regular bedding on these cots in your cells with you. You guys can all, you guys can all see each other to a point. Like, Anthea and Dragon can't necessarily see each other, and you can hear each other, but this wall separates the two of you, and this wall separates the two of you, Naomi and Pax. But what's in front of you is just jail bars, so you guys can see diagonally across and directly across, but you can't see like
hello.
You. So you can at any point you can see two of your party members, but not the other three, not the third. So, but you guys find yourself in jail because of a rash decision of a king. It's different from before, Naomi. And I think right there is a good spot to call it for today.
Oh man. Great game.
Nice stuff.
Yeah.
So squishy.
I have 11 AC, guys, without my plate armor. I go from being frontliner to be like sorcerer level squish. Like, this is, oh my god.
Alright, well, we will pick up with the four of you in the castle dungeon next time.
Jailbreak.
Next time on Tales of Mateia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright. Well, until then, good night and happy dungeon delving, everybody.
Everybody say goodbye,
Yes.
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Happy dungeon delving, everyone.
Yee.